Here's a great story. You'll find it in Matthew's Gospel. I'm not going to read all of it because in Bible reading terms, it's quite long. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory. It's quite short, isn't it? Because often the Bible, there's not that many birth narratives, but they go on about it. But Jesus was born. That's it. Anyway, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem village, Judah territory, this was during Herod's kingship, a band of scholars arrived in Jerusalem from the east, and they asked around, where can we find and pay homage to the newborn king of the Jews? We observed a star in the eastern sky that signalled his birth. We're on pilgrimage to worship him. When word of their inquiry got to Herod, he was terrified. And not Herod alone, but most of Jerusalem as well. Herod lost no time. He gathered all the high priests and religion scholars in the city and asked, where's the Messiah supposed to be born? They told him, Bethlehem. The prophet Micah wrote it. It's you, Bethlehem, in Judah's land, no longer bringing up the rear. From you will come the leader who will shepherd all my people. Herod then arranged a secret meeting with the scholars, pretending to be as devout as they were. He got them to tell him exactly when the birth announcement star appeared. Then he told them about the prophecy of Bethlehem, and he said, go and find this child, leave no stone unturned, and as soon as you find him, send word, and I'll join you at once in your worship. Instructed by the king, they set off, and the star appeared again, the same star they'd seen in the eastern skies. It led them until it hovered over the place of the child, and they could hardly contain themselves. They were in the right place. They'd arrived at the right time. They entered the house and saw the child in the arms of Mary, his mother. Overcome, they kneeled and worshipped him. Then they opened their luggage and presented gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. In a dream, they were warned not to report back to Herod, so they worked out another route, left the territory without being seen, and returned to their own country. There's more. Because after the scholars were gone, God's angel showed up again in Joseph's dream and commanded, get up, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt and stay until further notice. Herod is on the hunt for this child and wants to kill him. So Joseph obeyed. He got up, took the child and his mother under cover of darkness. They were out of town and well on their way by daylight. They lived in Egypt until Herod's death. And this Egyptian exile fulfilled what Hosea had preached. I called my son out of Egypt. Herod, when he realised, you'll know the song about this if you live in Coventry. Herod, when he realised the scholars had tricked him, flew into a rage. He commanded the murder of every little boy 2 years old and under who lived in Bethlehem and its surrounding hills. He determined the age from the information he'd got from the scholars. That's when Jeremiah's revelation was fulfilled. A sound was heard in Ramah, weeping and much lament. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing all solace. Her children are gone, dead and buried. You've got to love a happy ending, haven't you? The arrival of the magi. Yes, they are magi. Not wise men. They were pagan magicians. That's all we know. We don't know anything else. Pagan magicians. I mean, pagans then are different to pagans today. But the point is, they weren't of the religion of the people writing this book. Anyway, their arrival marks a moment in the story of salvation. And I love it. I mean, I love the shepherd story. To be honest, that's my favourite. But this story brings a whole new colour, a whole new smell into the story. Because when this happens, it feels like, when you read the story, you got to feel the story. There's a shift in the universe. This story brings about something, I don't know, there's a shine. The shine of gold and the smell of incense, the cold, heavy ointment of myrrh is rubbed in to your skin. Because powers are shifting. Principalities are moving their positions. Things that are not meant to be together are crossing over and changing places. Up to this point, and in a sense, when we read this story in the New Testament, we read it knowing all of it, and then we read that bit. The New Testament's the New Testament, as we would understand, it's only just beginning. But up to this point, it's been quite ordinary. There's a family line in Matthew's Gospel. That's how Matthew's Gospel starts. Lists all kinds of people. Yes, there are some celebrities in there. Actually, there's some women in there, isn't it? In this list of male patriarchs, male ancestors, these women sneak in, particularly foreign women, interestingly. And there's also a background story woven into these names. And the background stories of disaster and celebration. Because those aren't just names. Like when you list the names, you can say, well, that's a name, there's a face, that's the downside of the family line stuff, isn't it? But every name is a story. So you're actually looking at a library there of story. Anyway, that aside, it's all quite the normal stuff of family life. If you trace any of your ancestors, I trace my ancestors back, it would be the same. There would be some minor celebrity in there, probably. There'll be some foreign people coming in. There'll be some people unexpectedly in there. It's all quite mundane. And then some peasant girl gets pregnant. So far, so actually unremarkable. But then there's a stirring that occurs. Some powerful people do notice this, and they travel and arrive in style. I'm reading between the lines slightly. Likely in style. Limousines and private jets and bodyguards with shades on, or whatever the ancient Far Eastern equivalent of that would be. And they go straight to the source of power, to the capital city, to the man at the top. And like many men at the top, he is a fearful coward, only interested in protecting himself and his position, and fearful of anything that might threaten that or say different. He doesn't like it. This Bible stuff is remarkably fresh, isn't it? Anyway, that aside, those who hold the power start to shift uncomfortably. And this is a foretelling of the story of Jesus, because when Jesus comes along, those sitting comfortably on their thrones and in their armchairs and around their boardrooms, those sitting comfortably start saying, oh, well, we don't like this. What are we going to do about that? Herod shifts uncomfortably, as do his cronies. Those who set the narrative are worried that the narrative is at risk of getting off message. Those who'd invested in a system of power and control find that something or someone has begun to undermine that. There's a chink in the armour. Some light is shining through. And there are consequences to this, a violent rage. People are oppressed and arrested and killed just because they look like the perceived enemy. The price is irrelevant to the one in power. You might be it, you might be it, you might be it. So I will destroy all of you. It's remarkably fresh, isn't it, this story? But things are out of sorts. The rich, comfortable, powerful are being undermined by these foreigners coming in who kind of know what they're talking about. They're just as clever, perhaps cleverer even, than those in power. These strangers who've studied and considered and listened and acted. And the established powers are thrown off balance. The established powers can't just stop them, can't destroy them, but they do respond with violence. And God responds, well, he flees as a refugee to find sanctuary in another country. This story is true politically in our political landscape, but it's also true in your world and mine, in our way that we rule our own lives. Because Jesus is the ultimate disruptor. And do you know why? It's because he brings peace and hope and acceptance and sacrifice and love. This isn't disruption with no purpose. This isn't disruption just to replace and then actually carry on as before with the same old power systems. This is a fundamental shift in how things are. Because Jesus wasn't going to replace Herod or Caesar. He was going to show a way that made Herod or Caesar irrelevant, that actually stripped them of their importance and of their power. So when we see the rich and the powerful adopting Christianity, we've got to say, well, is this really? Is this just a garment that you wear? Jesus was going to show a way of living that didn't rely on me getting what I can out of you. Subscribe, give me a gift, and then you getting what you can out of the next person. Because the cycle is broken. The rich and the powerful come and bow before a baby. And interestingly, the rich and powerful that do come and bow before that baby are not the ones who wear the garments of that particular religion. It's the ones outside who show us the way, the magi. The ones outside who show us the way. Isn't that just like Jesus? Like Mary, the peasant girl. Like the shepherds, stodgy labourers. Like the prostitutes talking to Jesus. Like the filthy beggars touched by Jesus. Like the women called from their domestic servitude. Like the soldier seeing the truth through all the propaganda. Can you see it? Can you sense a shift in reality the arrival of these strangers brings? The glow of something just out of sight. The scent of something mystical in the air. Because it's there. Seek it out. Find the hidden truth.